The LA Kings did something this weekend that they hadn't done all season long, and we hope to see more of it, that and more on this edition of Locked On LA Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily podcast on the Los Angeles Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Kings fans, welcome to Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On LA Kings your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. I'm Eddie Garcia, your host of Locked On LA Kings. I've worked in sports media for the past 30 years, also co-host of the Puck Podcast, a weekly NHL review show that's been putting out content for the past 18 years, and a passionate LA Kings fan for over 30 years. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code Locked On NHL for $20 off your first purchase. Well, the LA Kings wrapped up a busy week of action this past Saturday at home against the Ottawa Senators. LA was playing its fifth game in the last 7 days and third game in the last 4 days, looking to win 3 straight for the first time all season. As for the Kings lineup, we would see some changes in this one. Anze Kopitar and Adrian Kempe have been stalwart on the top line. They've been joined by a different cast of characters often. This time, Trevor Moore on the top line as he returned after missing 1 game due to injury. The second line would be Quinton Byfield centering Tanner Jeannot and Warren Foegele, moving off the top line down to the second line. Third line had Phillip Danault centering Kevin Fiala and Alex Laferriere. And the fourth line, Samuel Hellenius, was centering Trevor Lewis and Alex Turcotte. The defensive pairings have been the same for a while now. Mikey Anderson with Vladislav Gavrikov on the top pairing, Joel Edmondson and Brant Clark, the second pairing, and Jacob Movarar with Jordan Spence on the third pairing. David Riddick returning to the net after 1 game off. Eric Portillo returning to his backup role after getting his NHL victory, first ever NHL victory in his NHL debut the game before against the Anaheim Ducks. The big question for me going into this game: would the Kings do something they had not done all season long and win 3 games in a row? Well, a great start in this one against the Ottawa Senators for the Kings. Much better start than the Kings had against Anaheim, more reminiscent of the start that the Kings had against Winnipeg. Lots of energy. Probably not surprisingly, it results in a quick goal. Just a minute 57 into the game, Alex Laferriere would score to give LA a 1-0 lead. Kings held that lead until late in the first period when Ottawa's Tim Stützle scored with 46 seconds left, and we were tied at 1 after 1. Second period, we would have 2 goals scored not far apart by both teams. Senators took a 2-1 lead, but LA responded just a minute 15 later with a Kevin Fiala goal. We were tied at 2 going into the third. Final period was mostly LA. Anze Kopitar gave the Kings a lead just a minute 37 into the third with a beautiful goal batted out of the air. Adrian Kempe added a power play goal late, and then Trevor Moore iced it with an empty net goal. Final score, Kings 5, Senators 2. As for the game stats in this one, shots on goal favored LA 27-22. Power play favored the Kings. They were 1 for 3, while Ottawa was just 0 for 1. The faceoffs favored the Kings 31-23. Hits favored LA 36-31. And block shots favored the Kings 20-14. So what was my big takeaway from this game? This was a really good hockey game. It was one of those games that I actually wouldn't have been super disappointed had the Kings come up short in a close one. Both teams, I thought, played with a lot of energy. It was just a good hockey game to watch, at least through the first 2 periods. I'm sure Ottawa Senators fans might disagree when it came to the third period, but great to see LA finally get that 3-game winning streak they've been looking for all season. They have shown at times they can be a very good team, at times not so much. Obviously, the key word that we've mentioned a million times on these episodes, consistency. 3 in a row is certainly a good start, a good indicator of things going in the right direction. But this is just the first of a 3-game winning streak. The Kings need to put games like this together in bunches to remain where they are in the standings. So good to see 3 wins in a row. Our quote of the game comes from head coach Jim Hiller, and we're going to talk more about this player coming up, but he wanted to single out Kevin Fiala, who had a goal and an assist. And he said this about Kevin Fiala, quote, "Great to see it, wasn't it? Power play hasn't gone that well this year. We've had a lot of chances and haven't scored on, but nice to see that. We've seen a lot of that since Kevin showed up, Kevin to juice or Kevin pulling himself inside himself. So nice to see. I thought Kevin was good last night, and I thought tonight he built on that. I thought he was the most dangerous player on the ice, end quote. So again, we'll get more into Kevin Fiala's night coming up, but I think that was a key quote from head coach Jim Hiller. As far as what was good for the Kings from a team standpoint, certainly I thought they got back to what makes them very effective. Again, they fell off it a little bit against Anaheim. Wasn't completely off, but not as good as the game before against Winnipeg. Skated with energy right from the start. A good first period, really good first period. Shot mentality, traffic in front of the net. That's going to be the calling card for LA. Players and pucks all going to the net. The forecheck got going again, also very important. Spent a lot of time in the Ottawa end. LA won the special teams battle, had a power play goal, did a good job staying out of the penalty box, only gave Ottawa, which has a top 3 power play in the NHL, 1 power play opportunity. LA got contributions from several different players, which is always great to see, and solid goaltending. And with the game tied at 2, the better team won the third period and put the game away. That was the LA Kings, a very good team performance and solid win for the LA Kings. What was not so good for the LA Kings from a team standpoint? Well, not much. Ottawa is not one of the top teams in the league, and certainly it was anyone's game to a certain extent after 2 periods. You would like to have seen maybe the Kings be able to convert on some opportunities to not have to win the final period to win the game. But I also thought that was kind of a good thing that in the crucial moment, in the crucial period, the Kings were the better team. But, the Senators did have some good chances around the net. David Riddick had to do a bit of scrambling, loose pucks on net, but more often than not, the Kings netminder was able to get it done. Not a lot of, odd man rushes or breakaways to speak of for Ottawa. So good team defense for the Kings. So not a lot, again, for the Kings to work on from a team standpoint. I guess if there was something, you would point out the power play, even though the Kings did get a power play goal, which is anytime they do that, frankly, I consider that a win. But 1 for 3, the power play could always be a little bit better. Heaven forbid the Kings score more than 1 power play goal in a game. But I'm going to be honest right now. If they get 1 in a game, I'm got a smile on my face. So overall, again, a great team win for the LA Kings. Solid performance against the Ottawa Senators, getting it done on home ice, and again winning 3 in a row for the first time and hopefully not the last time this season. Up next, we're going to look at some individual players for the Kings. We talked about Kevin Fiala. There are several others that we need to talk about as well. That's next here on Locked On LA Kings, your team every day. Hey, get ready to tackle the NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets when you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. And when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. We got Monday Night Football tonight. The Broncos are hosting the Browns. Denver is a 6.5-point home favorite. The over-under is 41.5. What about the Lakers? They are in Minnesota to face the Timberwolves. LA is an 8-point underdog. Over-under is 219 points. Want to get in on the action? Well, you need to visit FanDuel.com to join. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And those of us that are in Southern California, so lucky to have the opportunity to see so many live events, sports, of course, but it's not just about that. You've got theater events, comedy shows, and of course, concerts too. And Gametime has tickets to whatever it is you're into. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks. It makes getting tickets even easier, and you can save even more. The feature shows you the total up front, no surprise fees at checkout. You can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, and you'll get the lowest price guaranteed, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference that you can get. But with not any sports action tonight really locally, but how about tomorrow? You can go to a UCLA basketball game for under $10, an Ontario Reign hockey game for less than $20, and how about a Clippers game for under $30? Just download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. Let us get into some individual players for the LA Kings as I have a little something in my throat there. I apologize for that. David Riddick, going to start with the Kings netminder as we usually do when we're talking about individuals, because goaltending is always the key position on your team. And big save Dave, I thought, had a very good game against the Ottawa Senators. Now, he's had some good games all season. He's been close to a couple of shutouts, but I actually thought this might have been one of his better games because of the overall quality of saves he was asked to make. Again, not a lot of odd man rushes or breakaways that he had to stop, but some good quality scoring chances in high danger areas for Ottawa. They were throwing the puck on net. A lot of loose pucks that Riddick had to track and cover up and scramble to get to. First goal he allowed was off a rush, not a soft goal, but he has made that save more often than not. But everything else was either saved or you give credit to the team. The second goal he allowed a point shot that's deflected. Obviously, those are very difficult to stop. So one goal he would probably like to have back. But otherwise, Darcy Kemper, I think, was fantastic as he continues to be very solid, filling in for the injured Darcy Kemper, and continues to be lights out on home ice. Now 6-1 is the record for David Riddick at Crypto.com Arena. Save percentage of .931 at home and a 1.44 goals against average. I think he's playing so well at home that head coach Jim Hiller should seriously consider giving David Riddick more starts, especially on home ice. Take advantage of, for whatever reason, why he's playing so well at home. It's probably because the Kings are playing well at home as well. But I really think David Riddick has earned more starts than just being the number two necessarily. Now, Darcy Kemper isn't back yet. And the way Riddick is playing, the Kings certainly have the luxury of taking their time with Darcy Kemper, which I absolutely think they should do. Again, don't know the actual medical report, but it seems like he is dealing with some sort of a groin injury. And again, with the way Riddick is playing, and hey, Eric Portillo won his only start. So give Darcy Kemper all the time he needs. Be extra careful with it. Let it heal completely. No need to rush him back. But once he does come back, I would not be opposed to David Riddick actually getting more starts. We'll see. Kevin Fiala, we teased it earlier. Did we get good Kevin or bad Kevin? Well, we got very good Kevin in this win over the Ottawa Senators. He was very noticeable. He was flying all over the ice. He had one bad turnover early, and David Riddick bailed him out with a huge save. But you're willing to endure a few of those every now and then if you get very good Kevin, because every other thing he did in that game was great. The problem is, of course, kind of like the team, we haven't seen this from Kevin most of the season, but he was active, involved, and productive. A goal and an assist, both very high quality. The goal was highly skilled. He gets a rebound off a Brant Clark shot, makes a move around a defender, and then shoots it almost like a fadeaway jump shot in basketball. He shot the puck as he was going away from the net, but he still put it exactly where he needed to for the goal. Beautiful goal from Kevin Fiala. That's the kind of game and ability he has. We need to see it more. Also on the power play goal by Adrian Kempe, a beautiful give and go with Fiala. Kempe on the wing, gives it to Fiala in the high slot, and he gives it right back to Kempe. Now, the Kings were up a goal at that point. Now, if they were tied or down a goal, Kevin Fiala should probably shoot that puck. But when you're up a goal, and and it's later in the game, I think you have the luxury of making the extra pass, and that's what they did. And it was a fantastic give and go between those two highly skilled guys, and an easy net for Adrian Kempe from the wing. So if we can get very good Kevin going forward, that is huge for the LA Kings. But like I said, kind of like the team, Kevin he's been okay. He's been, even you could say he's been good, but I expect more. I have a high standard for Kevin Fiala because I believe in his abilities that much that when he just plays good, it's not good enough because he's really skilled. The numbers aren't bad for Kevin Fiala, 9 goals and 16 points in the season. But again, he can be better. He needs to be better. He was much better in this game against Ottawa, and hopefully we see more very good Kevin going forward. Andrei Kopitar, we are so spoiled. The captain aging like a fine wine. Jim Fox will tell you all about that. Very highly skilled goal in this one, batting the puck out of the air and into the net smartly, as you would expect, making sure his stick was below the crossbar. Had an assist as well. 37 years old, 19 seasons. He's got 29 points in 25 games. He's top 10 in the NHL in assists with 21. And he has, in his last 10 games, 3 goals and 11 assists, 6 multi-point games in his last 10 games for the captain, Anze Kopitar. Alex Laferriere gets the first goal of the game. He was set up on a nice pass by Phillip Danault. Nice to see Phillip Danault playing nice back-to-back game, but Laferriere gets a shot in close. It goes off the center's defenseman and into the net. So a little puck luck, but still, you get a chance in a high-danger area with traffic in front, and good things happen. Laferriere was a +3 against Ottawa, credited with 4 hits, so he's not only being productive as far as getting results, putting the puck in the net, getting assists, getting points, but forechecking as well. Started the season hot, cooled off a bit, but Alex Laferriere is starting to warm up again. He has a goal in 2 straight games, points in 3 straight, and 2 of those games were multi-point games. Alex Laferriere now second on the team with 11 goals, third in points with 20. He's 1 goal away from his season total from last year and 3 points away from his point total from a year ago. Adrian Kempe talked about the power play goal, team leading 12th goal of the season for him. And I've mentioned it before. I really think the Kings' number one option on the power play is to try and set up Adrian Kempe on the wing. It's exactly what happened in the power play goal that they scored. So Jim Hiller, by the way, I should mention, did move away from the 5 forwards on the number 1 power play unit. Brant Clark was inserted as the quarterback on the number 1 power play unit. So 4 forwards, 1 defenseman, Brant Clark, at least for now, on the Kings' number 1 power play unit. Tanner Jeannot, Mikey Anderson, and Joel Edmondson led the Kings in hits. Each had 5. Brant Clark led the team in block shots with 5. Fiala, Kempe, Warren Foegele, Trevor Moore, and Clark all tied for the team lead in shots on goal. Each had 3. Vladislav Gavrikov led the Kings in ice time with 23 minutes and 14 seconds. We have to bring up, every time the Kings play the Ottawa Senators, Tim Stützle. And you probably know all about this. Maybe you're tired of hearing about it, but it is a story every time Tim Stützle and Quinton Byfield share the ice together. The second and third overall picks in the 2020 NHL draft. The Kings had the second pick. They took Byfield. Stützle then went to Ottawa. As far as this game, Byfield had 1 assist. He was a -1. He did take the Kings' lone penalty in this game. 18 minutes and 13 seconds of ice time. He had 1 shot on goal and 3 hits. Stützle, of course, the number 3 pick in that draft, had a goal. He played 21 minutes and 3 seconds. On the season, Byfield has 3 goals and 8 assists for 11 points. Stützle has 10 goals and 20 assists for 30 points in their careers. Byfield has 31 goals, 68 assists, and 99 points in 204 games. Stützle has 101 goals, 176 assists, 277 points in 309 games. One final note from the game against Ottawa. Kings forward Trevor Lewis was injured on a hip check in the first period. He did not return. He was seen on crutches after the game. Head coach Jim Hiller already ruled him out for the Kings' next game against Dallas on Wednesday. That would have been Trevor Lewis's 1,000th career game, so that is certainly a bummer that is on hold for now. Would have been great to see Trevor accomplish that feat on home ice. Certainly seems like with him on crutches that he could be headed to injured reserve. If that's the case, the Kings can call up a player from the AHL to replace him, perhaps Samuel Fagemo, who we'll talk about a little bit more coming up. He's obviously seen NHL time. For now, I would say look for Andre Lee to drop back into the lineup. And if you don't remember, Akil Thomas is on injured reserve as well. So I would say Andre Lee is going to be the man in on the 4th line for the LA Kings in place of the injured Trevor Lewis. We need to give out our 3 stars of the game. We'll check in on the Pacific Division standings and more. Got a rain report as well. That's next on Locked On LA Kings, your team every day. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Just go to the PrizePick app and you can be a winner, and you could win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. We have Monday Night Football, as I mentioned, Broncos versus the Browns. Will Denver quarterback Bo Nix have more than a touchdown and a half? Will Cleveland quarterback Jameis Winston have more than a half of a touchdown pass? Those are actual picks you can make right now. PrizePicks is the best way to get in on the action in most states, including California. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's the code LOCKEDONNHL on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even have to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, my favorite part of the show after a Kings victory is the 3 stars of the game, because we only do it after the Kings win, of course. And my number 3 star, I'm going to go with the captain, Anze Kopitar. Another great game for him. And again, and this is always great, there were a number of different players could have picked for the 3 stars. My 3 stars I don't think coincided with the 3 stars that were actually picked, at least not my number 1 star. But anyway, Anze Kopitar is my number 3 star. 2-point night, moved past Hall of Famer Peter Stastny and into 42nd all-time in points in NHL history. He also moved into a tie with Hall of Famer Johnny Busick and Mike Modano for 30th on the all-time assist list. He now has 813. Kevin Fiala was my number 2 star. Could have been the number 1 star. He played that well. But I thought David Riddick had some really big saves. I thought this game had the chance to go a different direction, if not for big save Dave. He's had some good games, and statistically, he's had better games. But I just thought he was really active in the net, tracking a lot of loose pucks, covering pucks, smothering pucks, not giving up any dangerous rebounds. Kevin Fiala was very good. I think he was the number 1 star of the game as selected by the team. But I'm going with David Riddick as my number 1 star in the win over Ottawa. But again, several players could have won that award, and that is a very, very good thing. Let us look at the Pacific Division standings as we start a new week. The Vegas Golden Knights continue to be the top team in the Pacific. They've been there most of the year. They have a record of 15-7-3 for 33 points, but our LA Kings are right there in second place, just 2 points back of the Golden Knights with a record of 14-8-3. They moved back into second place. They had occupied third place a week ago. The Canucks have moved into third place. They are 13-7-3 for 29 points. The Oilers are still kind of lurking. They're in fourth place with a record of 13-9-2 for 28 points. They've won 3 in a row as well, just like the Kings. The Calgary Flames have dropped off. They were in second place a week ago. They've now slipped down to fifth place. They've lost 4 in a row. Record of 12-9-4 for 28 points. So that goes to show you, if you can win 3 in a row, or if you lose 3 or 4 in a row, you can really move up and down in the standings. So the Flames have dropped off. The Ducks are actually in sixth place, tied in points with Seattle and San Jose. All of them have 23 points, but the Ducks have a record of 10-10-3. Kraken are 11-13-1. They've lost 3 in a row. And the Sharks are 9-13-5. They've got 23 points as well, but actually playing some decent hockey. And I will have to say that the Pacific Division right now is pretty balanced and competitive. I think some people maybe earlier in the season would have said that the Pacific Division was maybe the worst division of the 4 in the NHL. And you could argue that maybe the top 3 don't stack up quite as well as the top 3 in some of the other divisions, perhaps. But from top to bottom, I don't know that there's a terrible team in the Pacific Division. The Sharks are playing some decent hockey right now. They're getting better, and they're young, and they're hungry, and they're starting to kind of believe in themselves a little bit. So I think from top to bottom, I have no problem saying that the Pacific Division is likely the most competitive division in all of the NHL. So again, that speaks to the importance of the Kings being consistent, because again, if you, have any kind of a losing streak like we saw with Calgary this week, you can really drop down in the standings. But right now, the Kings second place in the Pacific, and looking good with that 3-game winning streak. A quick Reign report, a check on the LA Kings AHL affiliate, the Ontario Reign. Kings went 2-0 over the past week. The Reign went 2-0 over the past week. Friday, they beat the Texas Stars. That's the Dallas Stars AHL affiliate. 4-0 was the score. 27 save shutout from Phoenix Copley. Samuel Fagimo had 2 goals, numbers 8 and 9 on the season for him. Atu Yemsen and Caleb Lawrence had a goal as well for Yemsen, his second, Lawrence's third. And then on Saturday, the Reign won in Bakersfield over the Condors. That's the Edmonton Oilers AHL affiliate. 3-1 was the final. Samuel Fagimo gets his 10th of the season. Glenn Gaudin, his 8th and 9th of the year to provide the offense. And Phoenix Copley allowed 1 goal on 26 shots to get another victory. So the Reign are now 10-7 on the season. This week, they play Tuesday at home against the Texas Stars, Saturday at San Diego against the Gulls, the Anaheim Ducks AHL team. And then Sunday, they will host Bakersfield. For you everydayers, those of you that listen and watch Locked On Kings every day, coming up on Tuesday, friend of the show, Russell Morgan from Hockey Royalty is going to stop by, talk about the Kings play of late. Wednesday, we'll preview the big game that night against the Dallas Stars, one of the top teams in the Central Division. Thursday, we will recap that game. And then on Friday, we will preview Saturday's Kings Wild matchup. And of course, have a Kings fan feedback show. If you want to get in on that as we give you the roadmap for the rest of the week, you can send an email for our feedback show or for any other reason you want to get in touch with me or the show. LockedOnEddie@gmail.com is the email address, LockedOnEddie@gmail.com. You're always welcome to post your thoughts on each and every show. If you're watching on YouTube in the comment section, we appreciate that. Would love you to stay interactive with the show on social media, X, Twitter, Instagram. We are at Locked On LA Kings. I'm Eddie Garcia. Thank you, as always, for listening and watching this episode of Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you on Tuesday. And as always, go Kings, go.